Uh-oh. Another interesting looking group. These people keep their cameras on and they're not dressed. Oh, look at that one. Oh, nice. Well, everybody, you've done it. We can't be long today. I am going to Venezuela. I'm going to start a puppet government there. But first, there's AI, artificial intelligence, and there's LOI, lack of intelligence. And today's presentation is definitely in the LOI category. But we will make your head spin, and it only gets worse from here. Today there will be 3 presenters. The main one, very mediocre. I wouldn't pay any attention at all. The 2 others, better, much better. And if you have any questions, you can go to the question panel. There's a little question mark up there at the top, and type in your question, and the presenter will answer the question if he knows the answer, or pretend not to see it if he does not know the answer. Am I sharing screen? Okay, here we go, and I hope he's sharing screen. All right, welcome to this is the most recent webinar we have done. Of all the webinars we've done, there's been hundreds of them. This is the most recent one. And it's called EstateView Developments, Better Intake, State Estate Tax Planning, and New Features. And in the words of Monty Python, if you enjoy this webinar half as much as I do, then I will enjoy it twice as much as you do. And if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. So here we go. I've got a slide deck here, and I've got EstateView open. The name of this presentation is EstateView Developments, Better Intake, State Estate Tax Planning, and New Features. I'm going to cover the state estate tax planning when one of my co-presenters figures out how to be a co-presenter, and keep you posted. This presentation does not qualify for continuing education credit, not because we didn't register it, but also because it's just not good enough for continuing education credit. But if you are a CPA and you want a certificate of attendance, let me know and we will email you a certificate of attendance. If you want a free 10-day trial to EstateView, the best thing to do is just email me, agassman@gassmanpa.com, any day, anytime, next week or the week after, that you want to have a little 10-minute orientation. We'll do a live Zoom. You'll show screen, get this on your screen, get this on your computer. There's Shane, there's Eve, and we're off to the races. All right. If you do want to follow me today, and oh, I'm not sharing screen? Sorry. All right. Let's share screen. A lot of people say I don't like to share. They're right, but I'll share anyway. Sorry about that. Thank you, production team, for making sure that I'm sharing my screen. That rhymes, and we're having good times. Back to our program. Okay, so 10-day free trial. Now, if you've ever been in litigation, you know it's very expensive to have a trial. This is a 10-day free trial. I mean, the value of that, hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, do you know, Shane, why they call it multiple party litigation? Multiple party litigation? Because the litigation lawyers are having multiple parties during the proceedings.
I haven't heard that one.
But anyway, if you go, I should copyright that one. So if you go to your browser, not your dog, but your computer, the browser on the top left-hand side, put in estateview.link, and then select Pro Plus. So you'll go and you'll enter in your email address, and then you'll put sign up, and then it'll ask you for a promo. And this is top secret. Don't tell anyone. It's free trial. FREETRIAL. Put that in there, and then you can follow us along. And then Wednesdays and Fridays, Peter Farrell, the amazing Peter Farrell, recent graduate of the University of Florida, Masters of Tax program, and Stetson Law School's top tax graduate of a couple of years ago or 3 years ago, will meet with you one-on-one and with all of your friends Wednesdays and Fridays at noon. I cannot think of anything that would be more fun than to, and if you have a client issue and you want Peter to show you what we might do with it, you can do that. Those workshops are for free, and you don't have to be an EstateView subscriber to enjoy our workshops.
Hey, Alan, just quickly, you'll want to flip your screen share. You're sharing the one to your top.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a bigger view of the slideshow.
All right. Okay. Thanks for that, Shane. Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway, enough of my introduction. I'm just going to go ahead and bring EstateView on. Oh, the slides, by the way, before I forget, we are working on an instruction manual. You can let us know how we're doing. Ina's been working on it. This is where it tells you how to get on to EstateView. This tells you about the home page. And then this can walk you through how to use our new instant plan. A lot of our subscribers are not using the instant plan. We hope you'll give it a try. Those of you who are using it have really been enjoying it. I'll be showing it, but you might want to use these slides for that. And Shane, thanks for letting me know that I need to move this. All right. So let's go to EstateView. I'm going to stop my share and go to the right screen here. Let me see. Share, stop share. Stop sharing. I'm good at not sharing. And then I'll click on share. And apparently was good at sharing, but he shared the wrong stuff and they got divorced. I had a comedy hour. I think the Smothers Brothers were on it, maybe, or maybe it was before the Smothers Brothers, but no, that's applications. Which one is the screen for the, well, we'll just stay with the software. There's applications, and I will click on the screen, and there it is. Perfect. So when you get on the home page, you say it should say hello, Alan Gassman, if you're dreaming. But otherwise, if you're a subscriber, it should say your name, and then you can move around here and pick where you want to go. And there's Eve. Hi, Eve. How are you? Eve can't hear me. Probably doesn't want to. So then, before I forget, you can check out the news. When you click on news at the left-hand side, you see my cursor there. I'm going to make my cursor a little bit bigger, a little bit purple. Remember the band Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water, and My Woman from Tokyo. Eve, have you ever been in Tokyo? Eve's
I have not.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So then I can go to news, and then you can pick 3 news sources, and we've added a new one. And you can go to Thomson Reuters and see what's new there. You can go to the Tax Advisor News, and that's really pretty darn good. You can go to JD Supra, see what's going on in the will and trust arena, and then you could maybe pick Google News Business. And that way you see a lot of news right away, and then you have options where you can show summaries of the programs, and you can also show the authors or hide the authors. And with your iPad, you can read this in dark mode, or if it's Halloween. So that's nice. But I'll go back home. And what we want to cover today, first of all, I just want to show you where the AI is and tell you what's new on the AI. We have a lot of AI videos that I can send you. There's some on our website, but if you click on other AI, and then you will create a new search, and then you can choose Google Gemini, which is very good, Chat GPT 5.2, which is very good, or my favorite, Anthropic Claude, which is incredibly smart. You can pick fast or pro. I like to go with pro. It's still fairly fast, but I'll go with fast. And then and by the way, this is between your computer and the Amazon cloud base, which provides these AIs. EstateView is not in the mix here. Your license with EstateView and the technology here has what happens between you basically and the AI inside the Amazon cloud. Just so you know, that's part of the SOC 2 verification that we have. So anyway, once I chose that I'm going to start with Gemini Fast, I now am at a screen where I can choose what I want to do. And our programmers have educated the AI, or have given the AI protocols to follow. So, for example, if I want to research a tax question, I can input a memo or input something I got from somewhere, or I can start without a memo, and I can ask a tax question like, what is a grantor trust, and do they have them in France? And then I can click, and it's now reviewing the sources that I've asked it to review. It's not reviewing certain sources that I have asked it not to review, and it's verifying its sources. And it will come up with an answer. And once it comes up with the answer, I can ask that another one of the AIs will review what was done. So come up with an answer. And the footnotes are the Internal Revenue Code, a French law, Greenleaf Trust, which they have a really good website. If you want to do some reading about tax and trust, go to the Greenleaf law. And then number 6, Bessemer Trust. That's a really good source. They have things that Steve Akers's and Ron Alcott's writings there are accessible here and nowhere else but directly this way. And then BDO Global. And then I can click on Review with Other AI. And hey, Claude Pro, what do you think about how we did there? And then Claude Pro now is already, Shane, look how fast this is. It got faster.
Wow.
It already got faster with some recent updates we did. And now Claude Pro is criticizing Gemini. And then Claude Pro is going to rewrite this with Redline. Now, I had this reviewed by a pretty smart person who I really, really respect. And he said, no, way too complicated. They don't need to go decide which AI they want. They don't need to have one AI review the other AI. It should all be automatic. You should only get one answer. And I like it better this way. I like to see the debate, and I like to see the revisions, and then I can decide what was right or wrong, and why they disagree. And then I could say, write a letter about this. I could say, write a poem about this. I could say, give practical advice if some of the facts changed. And once I'm done, I can ask for a simplified response. And then I can download this as a Word document. And I just want to point out, download as one document or download as multiple documents. So I could make it one scrolling document or multiple documents. And I'm going to go back to Review with Other AI. When I put Review with Other AI, I just want to slow down and show you that I have two things. One, do I want it to review and revise with Redline, or do I just want the review? So review, I always want review and revise, because I want to see the Redline version. If I'm in the middle of a search and I want to stop, I click cancel search. If I want to copy and paste the result into something else, I can click copy and paste at the top, and that copies and pastes everything I've done. Or I can click copy and paste at the bottom, and that will only copy what I have in the last item. So I can also go ahead and print it, and by printing it, I could also make the destination my computer, I assume. That's how I can store it. And cancel that. Just trying to show you what the choices are. Now it is stored here. It's stored in my browser. It's not stored in my computer. You want to store it in your computer. It's only on the browser. It may stay on the browser a few days, but you don't want to rely on your browser. And we don't store it. EstateView doesn't store it. You need to save it. So the best way to save this, honestly, is just click on download. Download is one document. There it comes up. I can open it. I can edit it. What I commonly do is I open it as a Word document. And then I don't think you can see that because I'm sharing the app, not the screen. But the Word document comes up, and then I can type in, John, I just ran this on AI. I haven't proofread it for more than 15 minutes. It looks right to me. We can research it if you want. Here it is. And that can be done while I'm in a meeting. Not after a meeting. I can do it while I'm in a Zoom meeting. Okay, so then I can click Start on New Search. And you see that now I'm on search number 2. Again, I'll pick one of these AIs. And then the newest one we have is automated analysis. So this is just now working. It's pretty much in beta. Click on automated analysis. Which state am I in? I'm in Florida. My client lives in Florida. And then I can drag in the will, the trust, the durable power of attorney, the financial statement, the tax return, all that stuff, other stuff, all in at the same time. And what it will do at that point is it will give me a table of contents of what I gave it, and then it will analyze all those documents and explain how they interact. So that's that one. And then a couple others just to show you. If you drag a transcript from a meeting or from a letter into convert transcript to letter, then it will write the letter better than what the transcript is. Then it will write a letter about what you're doing to the client advisor. Then it will write a 1-week follow-up letter, an internal staff checklist, an internal memo on what you're doing, and a research summary. And Marty Shinkman and I were just talking about how much more we're enjoying the practice of law when after a meeting I can dictate a letter to the client, and in the letter say, hey AI, research that. Hey AI, describe that. Hey AI, give me an image of that. And Gemini is now running images, and then watch your letter come out really nice, and then watch the letter, the reminder letter, and then down at the bottom, ask a question, give it other prompts. So hopefully we're using this. I'll just show you one more thing. Trust or estate document. Once you load in your trust or estate document, which look how fast that was, it's already loaded. Then you can click on amend trust, and I could just say fix any ambiguities. Now it's going through the trust, and by the way, it's going through a trust. Stop that, turn that off. Oh, I'll say add a Scrivener protector provision as well, fix any ambiguities. So now it's going through the trust, and it's going to do an amendment that's going to add a scrivener protector provision and fix any annuities. So Shane, anything that you think I should add there?
No, I think you're doing a great job of the tool. I really like the automated analysis piece for uploading multiple documents. I'm trying to get it to work with the sample docs, but it's awesome.
So here's my amendment, and this is one of our law firm documents. Don't feel bad if it tells you your documents have issues, but it will find issues. It will generate an amendment, which will become a Word document. All I have to do is click download in Word. There's my first draft amendment. So we're continuing to develop this and improve it. We welcome all your questions, comments, and suggestions on that. Now I want us to talk about Eve's slides. Let me see, and please forgive me that for some reason it didn't want to share the right screen. So I'm going to stop sharing again, not because I'm selfish, but because my computer is being silly. Now I'm going to share. I turned off my microphone. Don't do that. Click share. I don't have any other Sonny and Cher jokes. I'm waiting for the screen to come up. He's ready to land on the moon, and for some reason, it just doesn't come up. That's strange, isn't it? I will click on the slides. Where are they? Isn't that strange?
Are they down in the bottom left?
Aha!
Perfect.
Well, but there it's showing a chart of some kind.
Oh,
a dual screen.
Oh, that's your whole.
Isn't it? That's all screens, but it's not finding
Which?
That's so strange.
Yeah.
But I click display settings, swap, and then still interesting.
That's weird.
It's weird. Okay, well, I'm just going to share that screen right now, and at least you're seeing. Well, now you're seeing the PowerPoint.
Okay.
You'll just see me looking that way. So now I'm going to go to Eve's new screen, and we're going to talk about something that I think is very important now that wasn't as important before, and that is estate tax planning. Because before the federal exemption went up so high, most wealthy folks were getting federal estate tax planning, which was taking care of the state estate tax planning. So, for example, if you lived in Hawaii and you were wanting to avoid federal estate tax, you would do all the things for federal estate tax planning that you would want to do for Hawaii estate tax planning. But it's a little bit different when you no longer have federal tax planning, but you still have the Hawaii planning, because people are less knowledgeable about it, especially if you don't live in Hawaii. So, I mean, if you don't have your lawyer in Hawaii and your advisors in Hawaii. So, in my continuing example, somebody in Hawaii may have read the news, there's no more federal estate tax, let's not worry about it. Well, no one explained maybe that there's a 20% Hawaiian estate tax, depending upon the bracket that they're in. And I have 2 pages here, one for Connecticut through Minnesota, and one for New York through Washington, D.C. And I want to talk a little bit about these estate taxes and how they work column to column. Eve, how would you describe how this system works, and what would you say at this point if you were on a webinar with 45 people watching?
Yeah, so the law clerks and I have fallen down the state estate tax rabbit hole, that's for sure. So we've been kind of gathering, researching, and writing on this topic, and we finally just put together this very helpful table, which really covers kind of each of the components. So we see the 2026 exemption except for Maine. Maine seems to be a little stubborn. They have not updated theirs. They're still at the 2025 exemption rate. You can see the tax rates, most of which are graduated on the portion of your taxable state, except for Connecticut and Vermont. You can see which states have gift tax. So here it's Connecticut. We also cover portability, which is where the surviving spouse can use the deceased spouse's unused estate tax exemption instead of it just being completely wiped away. We also see the cliff tax system, where once you cross the exemption threshold, the tax applies to the entire taxable base, not just the amount over the exemption. So you step off the cliff and you fall. And so I believe that applies to Illinois and New York. But something that we really fell into was whether non-residents can use LLCs to avoid tax on in-state real estate. And it really depends on the state. We struggled for a bit to find good articles on that because not every state is very clear. Some states are clear in their statutes, but other states, they just don't have a lot of case law out there. So states have varying factors that they consider when they're looking at non-resident LLCs holding in-state real property. Sometimes they consider whether it's single member LLCs or an LLC formed solely to hold the property. They also consider like when the LLC was created and then the control and the use of the LLC. But yeah, in some states, it's, some attorneys consider it risky just because there's not a lot of good literature out there. But you can see here which states usually give a hard line, no, you can't use LLCs, and then some others by statute, yes. For Vermont and Washington D.C., it's more likely not.
Okay, so what you were just saying is if I'm a Floridian, I don't live in New York City, I don't live in New York, but I have a condo there, and I buy, then New York may impose an estate tax against me?
Yes.
But if I put that LLC I put that condo in an LLC and I own the LLC, then there won't be an estate tax imposed?
Yes. Yep.
But the LLC for New York purposes can't be a disregarded LLC. I would have to elect for it to be taxed as an S corporation or have multiple members and elect to be taxed as a partnership. And all of these states, and then Eve, I'm estimating that you guys have spent at least 100 hours working on this chart and the article. Am I about right at 100 hours? I've spent at least 10 hours on it.
I would say yes, probably 100 plus. Yeah.
Right. And the really important thing, which I'm going to show in EstateView in a minute, is that for only 2 of these states have portability. So if my wife and I live in New York and we have 14 million of assets and I die first, I can leave 7 million, actually 7.35 million into a credit shelter trust, which can benefit Marcia and it will never be subject to estate tax on her estate. But if I fail to do that, then although she would have 30 million, she has my exemption for federal, she does not have that for New York. So it's use it or lose it. The only states that have portability are Hawaii and Maryland. So that's pretty interesting. Another thing that's important is that some people don't want to leave their assets directly to their spouse because they're afraid they'll get lost or the spouse will give it away to the children of a separate marriage. They want to leave the excess amount over the exemption amount into a Q-tip trust. And I'm going to explain that a little bit, but you can't do that in Vermont or Washington, D.C. So again, it just gets tricky. So let me go back. Let me go and bring back EstateView. So I just go to EstateView.
You'll have to switch your screen share. It's doing just the slide application.
Okay, let me first pull it up.
Yeah, no worries.
And let's see here. What screen I'm going to put it on. So I'm going to stop sharing again. And then I guess maybe I'll put it up on this screen. That'll be easier for me. And I won't be looking to the side. Then I'll click on share screen. Now let's see if it comes up as it starts to share. There it is. All right, perfect. Then I'll click on share. Very interesting why it reversed those two screens. Okay, so now I'm back on EstateView, and I'm going to go, and all of our important calculators now have federal and state estate tax, but our most popular calculator is married couple comprehensive. So here are Bob and Mary sample, and we will click on fit all, and they, with no planning, have 30 million of investments and 1.3 million residents. And if they both die this year, there's just a little bit of federal estate tax. By the way, in this calculator, and in most of our calculators, at the bottom left-hand side, there's a video. And you can make the video bigger by left-clicking your mouse on the right top corner. And you can also move it around. And you can also get rid of it, and then you can bring it back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to click on Enable State Estate Taxes. And when I do that, I'm going to select a state, such as New York. And now, look at these folks. They don't have that much of an issue with the federal estate tax. They have a big issue with the New York estate tax. Now, you would think the New York estate tax would be smaller, but New York has a little trick they play on you. And their little trick is, even though the first 7,350,000, I believe it is exempt from estate tax, if you go to 7,350,000, if you go to 105% of that, that's where the cliff is. Now, Eve, when you said the cliff, I thought we had a law clerk named Cliff who was working on the slides. But what were you actually intending? Is Cliff here?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard from Cliff in a while.
Good, because I haven't paid him. All right, so let's have some fun here. So I will, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, I consider this to be fun. So I'll go down to the investments, and instead of 27 million, I will give them 7 million. And when I give them 7 million, they are, well, where, let me see. Oh, I got to get rid of their house too. I'm going to get rid of their explosive asset. So I'm going to give them no house. They rent. They had to sell their house to pay legal fees. So it's actually a good story. And then I'm going to give them investments. They have 10 million of investments. Then that grows in 1 year to 10,458,000, and they have 1.3 million estate tax. If I click that down to 6 million, there's no estate tax. If I click it up to 7 million, all of a sudden, because of the growth, there's going to be an $846,000 estate tax. If I go to 6.8 million, And I do that by clicking 6.8, sorry, 6.8, and then I put an M there, click there, 6.9 million, there's a tiny estate tax. How about 6 million? 6 million, now there's no estate tax. So you see the cost of that cliff.
Yeah.
Would you rather have 6 million and no estate tax, or 7 million and 846,000 in estate taxes? There's a reason that you would want to make a gift before you die to get your estate tax down. Now, this is with no planning. Let's go to no planning 37 years. So when I go to no planning 37 years, because their life expectancy is 24 years for Mary, 37 years for, 24 years for Bob, 37 years for Mary. Now the New York tax, 8.3 million with no planning. But they do have the ability to set up that credit shelter trust on the first death. So I'm going to click on bypass trust, also known as credit shelter trust. And here's what happens. The New York exemption, and I think let's kill Bob off earlier. He hasn't been paying his bills anyway, so let's have him pass away in 2027. All right. That gives me time to plan his estate one more time. So what happens is he dies, everyone's sad, and the credit shelter trust gets 7,340,000. But the federal exemption would allow him to put away another 643, because he's got a total of about 8 million. Well, for New York purposes, it needs to go into a Q-tip trust or to Mary to qualify for the New York tax exemption, the New York marital deduction. So we don't give it to Mary because then it'll be subject to federal tax. Instead, we put it into what's called a state Q-tip trust. It qualifies for the New York marital deduction, and on Mary's death, it is not subject to federal estate tax. So let's move their assets up and see what happens. And I'm not going to be using a Q-tip here. Let's see what happens when we move their assets up. So let's say they now have 19 million. Now, on his death, the exemption amount, a total of 15,100,000, approximately 15,440,000, assuming that the exemption will go up with inflation. The Q-tip trust gets 800. Then on her subsequent death, the Q-tip trust is not subject to federal, but New York is 4.6 million. Now, if this was 4.6 million of federal tax at the 40% bracket, they might elect, and I'm going to turn off all the planning here other than bypass trust and charitable. Because one question is, well, we'll just give it to charity and not pay New York tax. So right now, what this looks like on the timeline is here's when you die, and here's the New York tax, and it's a pretty big tax. But let's go back and say, let's give some to charity. How much do I have to give to charity so there's no New York tax? And the answer is a heck of a lot. On the second death, instead of the descendants getting 63 million and New York getting 4 million, the charity would have to get 28 million. The children would only get 39 million. And if you use a charitable lead annuity trust, after 20 years, the children might get another 12 million for a total of 50. But after the time value of money, that's not so great. Click on timeline, and without charity, you have a little bit going to New York. Click on charity, you've got a lot. going to charity. It's held in the charity for a long time, and then this portion goes to the children. So then maybe I'll change this. Let's say they want to move to Florida. If they want to move to Florida, that's great, because I'm in Florida. They should move to the west coast of Florida near my office so they could walk here for our meetings. But who knows where they want to live? They want to live somewhere else. So I'm looking for my state button again. It's around here somewhere. Let's say that they move to Massachusetts. So when they were in New York, let's go back to non-charitable. New York, 4 million. But then when I go back to Massachusetts, and isn't there a song, Are You Going to Massachusetts? Wear some flour in your hairs, but pay a lot more tax when you're theirs. So New York, from 4 million to Massachusetts. No tax in Massachusetts. I'm not sure why. We'll have to double check that result. Let's try Hawaii. Okay, so, and then another question when we're doing this, we'll have to double check our numbers, is are you going to adjust this for the state exemption? For example, New York does not adjust the exemption every year, but EstateView can adjust the exemption as if the exemption did adjust. But if it doesn't adjust, if the New York legislature doesn't voluntarily adjust it, then the estate tax will be larger on New York. So Eve, any other comments there? I know Cliff isn't here, so you've had to stand in for Cliff. But anything you'd like to say? Anything you say could be used against you, by the way. I think you probably know that.
Well, no, I just want to say I have loved using EstateView. I just started using it very frequently in the past few months, and I'm a law student taking a tax class currently, and I love going to EstateView AI and helping. Like, it really helps me figure out difficult tax problems, and it's usually almost always right. So it's a great learning tool in addition to using it with your practice.
Have you had hallucinations? Well, no. I mean, has EstateView AI had hallucinations that you've been able to tell? Because it will occasionally. It's only as good as Claude.
I think it is, because it's more focused on tax, it doesn't hallucinate as much as ChatGPT would. So I typically will go to EstateView AI if I have any tax issues, and it's usually pretty great, but you definitely have to verify.
And which AI is your favorite?
I like going to the other AI and then doing the general tax question, because I, as a student, don't have documents to upload. So then I'll just, type in my problem and it explains it to me perfectly. It runs through.
But do you prefer Claude, Gemini, or Chat?
I usually start with Claude Pro, and then I always like to go in and review with Gemini.
And are you happier seeing the compare of what each says, or would you rather just get one result after they agree?
I think one result would be easier, but I do like to go in and see how each system thinks. It's very interesting because they'll catch things that the other system won't catch. So it really just depends on the day. But
And what was the last code section that you reviewed with it in class?
I was just doing, I think it was like gift tax problems. It was just very like general. I don't remember the exact code section, but.
Have you done Commissioner versus Crummy yet?
Not yet, no.
It's better than Cliff. All right. Notes. All right, so Shane, should we go ahead and, you want to talk me through Instant Plan?
Yeah, we can do that. We also have some questions in the chat.
Oh, okay.
What
are they?
If we want to go there. If you, on your right screen, there's a question mark. With
Yeah,
a
do you want to
box.
just read them to me?
Yeah, so the first one, let me see. Rather than create the AI amendment for the trust, could the program instead create an amended and restated trust agreement?
Yeah, let's do that. But
Perfect.
remind me to do that at the end.
Okay, we'll do that
Yeah,
one at the
when
end.
there's only one person left.
Yeah, we got that, Stephen. And
That'll
then,
be Cliff.
Let's see. And then, oh, I guess just the other one is, are you available by email for questions?
I'm definitely available by email for questions. Gassman@gassmanpa.com.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat for us here.
And then what else do we have?
Just
it's really important for those of us with clients in Massachusetts, and then it just stops.
Yeah, that was a call out from George.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
when you're from Massachusetts. So I
Well,
think
thanks, George. I wonder if George has flowers in his hair. I don't know. It's a great song, though. Whoever emails me at agassman@gassmanpa.com without using AI and tells me who did the song "Are You Going to Massachusetts" will win your free choice of any book in my Amazon library, or Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People in Massachusetts. So, Shane, look up who that was who did that song, or Eve, why don't you look up who that was who did that song? So, Shane, do you want to walk me through Instant Plan?
Yeah, so I know one of the big things here, so I know the developers have been working hard on integrations between EstateView and Decision Vault that will make getting information into some of these fields easier. Also, they've been working a lot on, and I'm sure you've been talking about the PDF upload feature. But if you go into Instant Plan, we can look at some of the ways those fields have changed.
Right. So let me give a 1.5 minute talk on what Instant Plan is. Instant Plan allows you or your client to fill out a simple or standard or complicated fillable PDF of their intake information, and then to input it into EstateView to get instant analysis and summaries. It is not AI based. Our user base has said we don't 100% trust AI, especially to run numbers on calculators. So with Instant Plan, and I'll go to Instant Plan Rapid Results. I click on Instant Plan Rapid Results, and I can simply take that fillable PDF that the client sent me, or that my staff filled out, or that AI can fill out, and input that into EstateView, or I can go to our portal. The same way that nowadays when I have a doctor visit, I go to the doctor's portal, I put in my healthcare information, probably on the same Amazon platform as we are, and I put in the information. Or here I can just download the blank PDF to fill in or send it to my client. But I'm going to click on Start New Client, Calculator Only Portal. And one thing I want to repeat is we do now, and if you're interested in how it works, just send me an email. We do now have the ability to take whatever stuff your client sent you, not the fillable PDF, but just whatever stuff, and then EstateView will fill in the fillable PDF to the best of its ability to save a lot of time. Now, I'm going with calculator only here, and here's the portal, and here's my ability to put in my name, put in that I'm a male, put in that I'm 66, put in that I'm not a tobacco user, and I have a 19-year life expectancy. So, Eve, you need to buy the law practice from me in 19 years, and I'll give you a great deal.
All right.
I put in where I live, such as, let's pretend I live in New York, and I can put in how much of my estate tax exemption I've had. Eve, I plan to retire at age 80. That's when you can buy me out. And I'm married. And then I'm married to Marcia, Marcia, and she has the same last name, female, and she has been 49 for quite a few years now. She is not a tobacco user. So Marcia's life expectancy is 37 years. She's going to get to 86. And our joint life expectancy is 38.2 years. Now I'm just going to go with 62 here, just in case somebody is 66 married to a 62-year-old. Now the joint life expectancy is 29 years, which is important, Eve, because you would think you'd be planning for a 25-year life expectancy, but really there's a 50% chance that one of us will make it to 29 years, even though there's only a 50% chance that Marcia will make it to 25 years. And then Eve, should you be a smoker or a non-smoker? Well, let's say if you become a smoker, then your life expectancy goes from 25 years to 19. Is it worth it to lose 6 years of your life? I don't think so.
No.
Okay. So then, do we have children? Yes, we do. We happen to have 2 children, and their names are Child 1, Gassman, age 35. And then again, we find out life expectancy, and then Child 2. And those are actually the names of our children, Child 1 and Child 2. And we'll say that one's 30 years old.
Makes the estate planning documents easy.
Makes the estate plan documents. And we have a granddaughter, and her name is Reads a Lot, because that's what she does. She's on her 5th Harry Potter book. She's 7. So lots of tuition is going to be needed there. All right. Then the next thing we're going to fill in is my annual savings. Let's just say I'm saving $400,000 a year. That's mainly from that we have law clerks like Eve that we bill out much higher than what we pay them. And then at age 75, I'm going to slow down, and I'm only going to make $200,000 a year. And then at age 80, when Eve buys the law practice, I'm not going to need any more money. I'll start spending $250 a year. This is important. When you run the numbers, guys, you've got to take into account how much are they saving net of taxes every year, or how much are they spending net of taxes, because that's going to be a problem. Then Marcia, annual savings, we'll say 50 and 50, and that only kicks in after I'm gone. So we'll say that after I'm gone, Marcia will be able to spend more because I won't be there to stop that. So there'll be 300. Then our home, I'm going to say our home is worth 1.3 million. It's growing at 5% a year. And then I'm going to say my IRA is worth 4 million, growing at 7%. Marcia's IRA, 4 million, growing at 7%. Investments outside of the IRA, 15 million, 15M, click return, that's 15 million. And then the high growth asset, yes, the law firm. How much did I say Eve's going to buy it? Right now it's only worth 300,000, but Eve's going to buy it when I'm 80 years old in 14 years. So 14 years. And Eve, I'm going to give you a great deal on this. It's only going to be $5 million. And my income tax on that's going to be $1 million. And then am I charitable? Well, I'll pretend to be. Click yes there. And then I prefer a charitable lead annuity trust because those are more complicated and I can make more money drafting them. And also, I can leave assets or donate them now to a charitable lead annuity trust, pay no income tax, get a complete tax deduction if I do it while I'm alive, or 100% estate tax deduction. And even though I do that way, the children can expect to receive 40 to 50% of the clad assets in 20 years later. Life insurance, here's how much it would cost for me to get more, and I can click a button if I want more. these are just estimates based on surveys so that I don't have to call a life insurance agent, just to at least tell a client what it may cost per million. If I think the client needs $2,250,000, then I see that a 20-year term policy would cost $26,000 a year if they're in preferred health. So now I just click on see results. Now, Eve, we're near the ocean, but that's SEE results, not SEA results. And when you do your law briefs, you got to make sure you don't confuse SEE with SEE. And I can tell you that that's happened, and I saw it. Okay, trying to keep the audience awake. Okay, so I hit that button, results, and it just ran 40 to 50,000 calculations. The most popular calculations are under married comprehensive. And by the way, I was just talking to Marty Shinkman. He read a book, and the divorce rate for our clients is probably 10%, because if you have more than $50,000 net worth, you're college educated, and you've been married for more than 30 years, the divorce rate runs down to about 10%, just so you know. All right. Maybe we'll do a divorce predictor in EstateView. That might be fun. All right, so this, I showed you our married couple comprehensive, but this takes married couple comprehensive and just does it without me. So it basically says here that if we die right away, no estate tax, because we're at 24 million plus the house, but New York estate tax 3,600,000. Good reason to move out of New York. With planning, no estate tax. No planning though. My 18-year life expectancy, Marcia's 29-year. We're looking at New York estate tax 29 million, federal 50 million. Credit shelter trust on the first death. New York, by then, in 18 years, we predict a 12 million credit shelter trust, another 4 million for the federal. Nevertheless, estate tax still at 69 million. So that's down from 79 million. Qualified personal residence trust, which we could get into some other time, but that's putting half of our home in Cupert 1, half of our home in Cupert 2, starting to pay rent after the Cuperts expire. That's going to move the estate tax down to 65 million. Then annual gifting to our children and grandchild. That's going to move the estate tax down to a little 59. Discounted gifting 56. Life insurance trust 56. A large gift if we make a large gift now, etc. I'm not going to make this an estate tax planning exercise, although it is. And now when I click on Save to Calculators, all of our calculators have the same data. So now I could go to Home, and I can go to our married couple comprehensive calculator, and there's our data. So now I can go over here and I can change a lot of stuff. I can highly customize this estate plan to the techniques I want, but it gave me a great start. So let's go back to where we were there. Show some more features.
And while you're getting there, we have one more question in the chat, and it was just about, and I think we got a couple answers for your trivia, but one of the questions was about the risk of breaching client confidentiality using the AI.
Okay, if you use ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini for free, you are breaking the bar rules if you put any client information in there. Even if you're just searching for information about your client, If you read the bar rules, they don't want you to do that. So especially, I'm not going to go into the free Google Gemini and say, hey, my client owns this and that. Tell me more about her. Or here's her document. Analyze it for me. But if you have a subscription to the paid version of one of those services, you can use that as long as you have clicked the box, do not learn from my inquiries. Now, how do you know you've clicked the box, do not learn from my inquiries? You went there and you clicked it. How do you know that your secretary or your janitor didn't go and unclick it? You don't know. So you have to be careful if you're going to use your ChatGPT subscription or your other subscription. Every time you use it, you should go to the settings and make sure that it is not learning from your data. And I think these big companies are trustworthy. And I think you can safely do that. If you're using Copilot, Windows Copilot, I think you're very safe. The only thing is that these platforms are not as well trained. You can train them. You could dictate a 5-page document to say, whenever you review a trust for me, do the following things, don't do the following things. Or you could ask ChatGPT, please tell me your protocols for reviewing a trust. Okay, I'm looking at it. Okay, now let's change this, let's change that. And it will do a pretty good job of reviewing a trust. With EstateView, they're using my protocols based upon the time that I spent to try to do protocols. With EstateView, it does not learn. There's no switch to pull. So we've used the Amazon Cloud Organization Plan. I don't know the exact name of it, but by complying with the Amazon Cloud rules as a software company, as verified by an Amazon Cloud secured person, as verified by various testing, and by our contracts with the AI companies through the Amazon Cloud, it does not learn from the data. It doesn't get smarter as a result of what you would do on EstateView or what you would do on ChatGPT, because it does not learn from it, but it is safe. And there are, millions of dollars of liability insurance involved as well. Do you think that over answers the question?
No, that was a great answer for sure.
Thanks for telling me.
We got thank you in the chat.
Oh, okay. Good, good. All right, so going back to results, I've got a family tree based on what I've told it, and I've also got something that you guys should know about, even chain, and that's a Monte Carlo analysis. Now, it's best to actually go to Europe and see the casino there, but the Monte Carlo analysis shows me that for my $4 million IRA, which I've told it is I told it 30% bonds, 70% S&P 500. My average expected rate of return in 25 years is 37 million. But the bottom 10% rate of return would give you 19 million. And the top 10% rate of return, the 90th percentile, would get you 71 million. You see the difference in these numbers?
Massive.
So when you run your numbers, Eve, on an estate tax plan, you've got to know that there's a 75% chance that this 4 million is going to be 52 million in 25 years. You've got to run the numbers on the low side and on the high side. So that is what's called a Monte Carlo analysis. If you've ever taken statistics, you can learn about that. By the way, there's a wonderful book that came out in the 1970s called How to Lie with Statistics. And I highly recommend it because people are lying with statistics all the time. He who lies with statistics has done a bad thing. He who lies with a dog gets fleas. So it's better to lie with a dog than with statistics. Fleas are things, even, Shane, that used to be on dogs. Now dogs take pills, they don't have fleas. When I grew up, there were fleas everywhere. Okay. Something else that I can run on these people is what we call a needs and estimated savings tabulation program. Will they have enough to retire? So this runs the numbers, and then you can go to our retirement calculator for that. And then those of you who are on this webinar who know about estate tax planning, we give you instant qualified personal residence trust information. So 80% of my life expectancy is 9 years. So we think it's safe for me to do a 9-year qualified personal residence trust. My home is worth $1.3 million. Half of the home is worth $650,000. I have an 83% chance of living the 9 years, because if I do this and I don't live the term of the Cupert, then the house is back in my estate. It's as if I never did the gift. But because my children don't have the benefit of the Cupert for 9 years, my gift is only 55% of half of the value of the home. And I can take a discount of 15% is what we normally take, because I'm only giving half a home. So my gift is only $360,000. But when I die more than 9 years from now, half of the home may be worth $1 million. So the estate tax savings, if I just live until I'm 75, will be $259,000. So that's where it got the number for the Cupert. And then there's a Cupert if I did the whole home on my own. There's a Cupert if Marcia gives half and I get half. And there's a Cupert if Marcia gives the whole home. So then when I want to fine tune that Cupert planning, and I've clicked Save to Calculators already, I can go to Home. And okay, whoever sends me an email first saying the album and the side of the album without using AI, once there was a way to get back homeward, I want to know who did the album, who wrote the song, the name of the song, and the side of the album. And I will bet that everyone age 60 and older, probably 50% of the population, know that. Shane, Eve, do you know which band that was?
Just slipped my mind,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah, not without looking it up.
It was not Taylor Swift. I'll give you one hint. It was not Taylor Swift.
Shoot.
Okay. But she and the author of that, and one of the authors of that song, were at a football game together, just so you know. All right, so now I'm going to go to the Cupert calculator, click on Cupert, and click on Pro Plus, click on See Results, and there are all those Cuperts I just mentioned. So it added them to the calculator. So now I can go to that Cupert calculator. I can watch a video on how Cuperts work. I can fine-tune the numbers to what I think the house is worth. And I can run different scenarios, side-by-side comparisons on the results. And I can click on General Explanation, pick a couple of Cuperts, click on PowerPoint presentations, click on Submit, and now it'll run PowerPoint presentations explaining all those Cuperts. All right. I love to show off. This is great. Okay. An error has occurred. I think the error is that I'm beyond my time limit. All right. Shane, what else do you think? Oh, back to the instant plan. I just want everyone to, I want to make sure everyone knows, because we have so many people who don't really know yet. If you, and just now I'm going to go to standard intake, and I'm going to click on replace inputs with sample data. I'm going to click on, do I want to replace all the data with the sample data? Yes. Okay, so now I've got Bob's sample with all sorts of sample data. That's why his name's Bob Sample, by the way. And once I get that fillable PDF, I can put it into EstateView and click on Export. Click on Export Both. And now I have these charts, which are certainly worth the payment of admission, because I can show the clients that from the information they gave me, I need to find the chart. There it is. I now have an Excel chart.
Oh, it's sharing still the EstateView site.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Is it there?
there we go.
Okay.
There we go.
So now I have a chart. And what I do now is if I have a Zoom meeting, if I have an in-person meeting with the client, I print this chart on ledger paper. If I have a Zoom meeting with the client, I just show them the chart. I email it to them before the meeting. And then here I have on the left their minimum distribution and probable income from their pension. And you know, Shane, you want to remind me, we could add their Monte Carlo rates of return right there.
Yeah.
In the chart. Then in the box, I have a summary of the big picture of their assets and liabilities. And Shane, remind me, we're going to have it prepare a financial statement as well.
Cool.
Then I've got their insurance information, their IRA information, his personal information, their advisor information, and then his companies that he owns, and who else owns them and the percentages, their joint assets that they own, and the assets that she owns, her IRAs, her life insurance, her minimum distributions. And by the way, the top is without charity. The bottom is using the qualified charitable disposition rule, which says that once I'm 70 and a half, I can start donating. Right now it's $108,000 a year directly from my IRA to charity, which is a very tax efficient thing to do. And then our children, grandchildren, all of our choices for our estate planning documents, and then a bunch of red flags. And Eve, I want you to, during this semester, are you taking estate planning? Did you take estate?
No, I took Trust and Estates last semester.
Okay, I want you to go through all the red flags that EstateView has and tell me what to add. For example, for these people, their dog may disqualify them from liability insurance. The umbrella usually won't cover a jet ski or a wave runner. Certain types of weapons, you can't let anyone else use them unless they're in a gun trust. Certain types of life insurance maybe should be in a life insurance trust. It tells you all those things from the intake form. Then it gives you a family tree. Even people in apartments can have a tree now. It's just a family tree. Okay, so that was one of the Excel spreadsheets. The other Excel spreadsheet is right up here. I'll just open it. And what it does is it gives me their assets in columns, which is good, especially if you're into Greek mythology. And it tells you liabilities by category. And then it also points out foreign assets and community property assets, which reminds the lawyer or the financial advisor, uh-oh, there's a foreign asset, other rules may apply. So this spreadsheet also summarizes their assets and also gives them a graph here, which shows them the relative value of their assets now and when they retire. Now, Shane, why wouldn't this just be one Excel document? I'm not sure it has to be two Excel documents anymore.
Yeah, we could probably combine it.
We could combine that. All right. So, I also want to mention that you can go to your college planner, and then here is this 16-year-old, and the 16-year-old has a projected, you can figure out what it's going to cost to go to college, which is a lot, as you guys know. And then how much do you need to save today in order to be able to afford it? And how much more will it be if you go to private school? And are you taking into account living expenses? How much a year? Do you have a college savings plan? And you need to have $250,000 today in a 529 plan to supplement the 28,000, the money you already have put away in order to put this person through school. So try to marry somebody whose parents are going to pay for the school. That's really good advice. I don't fall in love until you know whether they have a prepaid college plan and whether there's extra for you.
We just got a question in the chat from David Becker asking if he can use the spreadsheets with VisiCalc spreadsheets. I'm not sure if I'm not familiar with VisiCalc.
I'm not, but why don't we research that
Yeah.
and get back to him?
Yeah, we'll get back with you, David. I'll speak with developers.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Is there anything else you think I should?
The one
show?
thing if we want to get back to is if you want to show the AI doing the First Amendment and restated rather than the trust amendment.
Okay, so I'm going to go to AI document review. Oh, something new I'm excited to announce. Or did I already mention that it'll take multiple documents and describe them and put them into order? So you haven't even seen this, Shane. We just got this going. So I'm going to go ahead. I like to start with Claude. And then just so you know, Shane, now you can put 8 or 9 different, the client sends you, here's my 14 estate planning documents, the old ones, the new ones, the this ones, the that ones. Well, you just put them into automated analysis, and it will make a table of contents by type of document and year, and it will tell you what each document is, whether it's been overruled by another document, summarize it, etc. Or at least that's what it's going to be doing soon if it's not doing it now.
Right.
But that's what that button is for. So then most people do go, there are hundreds of users that go to a state or trust document, pick the state you want. Florida, it's common. Try the sample document, go there, and then instead of select analysis to run, I'm going to just say, let's see, amend and restate this trust for Nevada because he is moving there, and add a pet trust for Fido, the dog, and provide that if no one survives, it will all go to a trust for Fido and his descendants. All right, let's see what happens. Now, it's kind of like that movie, Life is Like a Box of Chocolates, because you never know. Life is like a box of chocolates because it'll give you acne. I think that's what he says.
Something like that.
Something like that. So there it is. So the trust can be amended and restated to change its governing law to Nevada and to add a pet trust. However, several critical issues must be addressed. It's revocable. He retains the power to revoke. Descendants' language problem. The request to provide benefits to Fido and his descendants is a legal impossibility. Animals cannot hold property or be trust beneficiaries in the traditional sense. So it's telling us about that. Then there is a trust amendment with the pet trust language with limitations. And it's still working. Now, it's telling me the language that it's going to change. I asked it to restate and amend a trust document. Shane and Eve, have you ever had a teenage child?
No, nope.
No,
Okay.
I have not.
Have you ever been a teenage child?
Yes.
And how did you follow directions?
sparingly. If at all.
Exactly. So what's interesting is Claude is not doing exactly what I asked it to do. It's going through and it's analyzing what I asked it to do, but it's telling me to do the clerical work. Now, at the end, it may do the clerical work, but or I'll have to ask it to, or I'm going to ask the other AI to do the clerical work. But it's still saving me a lot of time and effort, and I will ask it again. Now there's a summary of recommendations of what I should think about, and it also says, by the way, consult Nevada Council. Okay, so now I'm going to click on Review with Other AI, and I'm going to ask Gemini. By the way, do you know what the Gemini spacecraft was? So when they put the first U.S. astronaut into space, that was the Mercury program, and John Glenn was the first American to go into space on the Mercury program. When they put 2 astronauts into space, that was the Gemini program.
Oh.
And you guys, every day when you go into the conference room in 104, you pass by a plaque that has a tiny piece of the second Gemini spacecraft that my father was given because he worked on the Gemini.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so we're still analyzing the amendment. So I'll have to ask it again to amend and restate. But eventually, it will amend and restate. Shane, anything else we should?
We got one more question from the chat from Matthew, and he asked, when using the Married Comprehensive Planner with the SCIN, does it always consider the SCIN to be connected to the first to die spouse? Is there a way to tie the SCIN to one or the other spouse?
That's a really, I'm going to say, please restate and amend. Entire trust in red line form. By the way, when you ask it to redline, it does not underline, it darkens print on what it's changing. So we only are able to have the skin apply on the first death for a married couple or in married comprehensive. When you go to the skin calculator, if you're showing skin only, we can have a second to die skin, and it gives you the numbers. But there it is. Okay, only had to ask 3 times. There's the redlined document. But just think about how much time this is saving our office now, that I can have this redlined document. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a Word document that can be redlined to the document, and then I can work from there. And then there's my animal thing. It's not super fast, you know, it's taking its time, but I'll be doing other work, and then it makes a little sound, beep or a bing, when it's done, so I can do other work. And Shane, as you know, and look what it did there, Article 2, amendment and revocation, no substantial changes. So Secretary's still going to have to do something. But look at that, it knows the Nevada homestead law provision to take this is saving a lot of time.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else. I don't remember what it is. But so it worked. Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions?
Please review. Do I understand correctly that client documents that I upload to EstateView for AI to review will remain confidential, i.e. client information is protected? Thank you. From Barbara.
That is correct. First of all, EstateView we don't have any storage whatsoever. EstateView can't even see it. It's between your computer and the Amazon cloud. Amazon, I'm told, stores the data for something like 20 days. As I understand it, Claude, Gemini, and uh, and ChatGPT don't get the data.
No. Yeah.
It's all inside the Amazon mix, which is why it's a little slow. So the only entity that you're trusting is Amazon, and it's the same thing that the U.S. military uses. It's the same thing that your medical doctor uses. Yeah. If you are concerned, then just go ahead and sterilize the document, change the names to Fred and Wilma Flintstone and Barney Rubble, change all the names, put it in, have it to do its thing, and then when you take it out, change the names again. You'll still save a heck of a lot of time. Perfect. And trouble.
Awesome. We're getting a couple more questions in here right at the end.
Good.
Another one from Matthew. Can you comment briefly on the pros and cons of using the comprehensive versus bolting together a plan with the single calculators? And if that is beneficial, is there a recommendation of how to pull them together?
Okay. I'll go home here and talk about that. Let me see. I got it. Wow, there's the whole trust. Now, okay, so look back home. The calculators, such as qualified personal residence trust, grant and retain annuity trust, rolling grats, and by the way, I could talk for an hour on each of the calculators. That's why there's videos for each of them. They allow me to fine tune the estate plan. So if I have a client that is going to want to do a charitable remainder unit trust, I am going to go to comprehensive and map out the whole estate plan, taking into account the charitable remainder unit trust. But I'm also going to go to the charitable remainder unit trust calculator and run the specific numbers for the charitable remainder unit trust. So we use the married couple as the architecture for the whole house. And then we use the calculators as the engineering report for the various components of the house. Now, if you're an architect or an engineer, you're probably going to tell me I said that backwards or something, but that's the way we use it. We use both of them. By the way, on the skin conventional, when I go to the skin, now I can go ahead and put in for a particular married couple or individual all of the information, including what the sales price would be if you're selling assets for a skin, and then go ahead and get the results of how the skin works. You can see that this is not simple. The main criticism we get at EstateView, which I'm proud to deserve, is that these things are not simple. People say, well, there's so many inputs. Why do you need so many inputs? Because these are the things that you have to take into consideration when you do a self-canceling installment note for a family. So we do have a standard function which is equivalent to the other calculators, which gives you much less than what you really need. But that's like going to a doctor and saying, I know I need 4 medicines, but just give me one. Well, which one am I going to give you? So the other thing is there are the other main calculators, which I use because I've been using them for 40 years. When I run numbers, I sometimes do use them, and I have great respect for those other calculators, but they don't allow me to show how the technique actually works. Yeah. They just show me the numbers. So I'm off on a tangent there, but
no, for sure. That makes sense. So you kind of start with the comprehensive and then use the calculators to tweak in line. Right. We got a question from Thomas about the estimated timeline for the Decision Vault integration. Thomas, I got your email. I'll follow up with you via email. That should be working.
It's working fine.
Yeah, it should be working now. I'll get you some instructions of how to get started with it.
Yeah, and Thomas, if you'd like, just give us a day and time anytime next week, and one of our folks can get on a Zoom call with you and make sure that Decision Vault and EstateView are working well. Vooter, who he and his wife own Decision Vault, they're fantastic. That's a fantastic software program. Now you can put your data into Decision Vault, and then it will automatically load our calculators, and you can do our calculator work. We're looking forward to integrating with Interactive Legal when they have their new platform up, which I hope will be fairly soon. We are also working on an integration with TrueState. If you are a Wealth Council member and you would like to see us integrate with Wealth Council, please just send me an email, let me know, and I'll share that with Wealth Council. Wealth Council has a new CEO that I'm looking forward to interacting with to do an integration with them. If you're using any other software that you'd like to have integrated with EstateView, just go ahead and send us an email, and our crew will be more than glad to set that up for you. Shane, anything else that you think we should cover?
Just two last quick questions. Just one, will you have the webinar again this year from Rosemary? I think the answer is yes. I got your email, Rosemary, and we'll follow up and get you the schedule and the future sessions of this. And the final
Okay, wait, very important. Third book award. First person who emails me to tell me who wrote the song that has the words parsley, sage, rosemary, and rhyme. The album and the artists.
Okay.
That's a pretty fair question.
Artist and album. Okay.
A pretty fair question. That's where we're going. Okay.
Awesome.
Those were lyrics from the song. All right.
And final question from Stephen. Final question, how do you bill your time when it takes 15 minutes to do a trust?
Well, weren't you thinking about it for a while? I mean, we bill most of our work by time, but we end up writing a lot of time off. I'm sure you do too. So with EstateView, we could charge $3,500 for the analysis, and there are firms out there charging, one value fee for the analysis. But what we found is that we're much more efficient, we're much more effective, clients are happier. We've been able to increase our billable hours, our billable hourly fee significantly. We've been less dependent upon staff, which is good because we never had enough staff. Now staff members who used to type letters and spend more time on documents are able to help us with other things. So that's what I would say. We didn't build EstateView so that everybody could make a whole bunch more money, but it should increase your income significantly, but also just your enjoyment and the fact that you're doing a much better job. And quite candidly, when you get a client with a large estate and they see that explanation letter and PowerPoint that comes with married couple comprehensive, they're much more likely to hire you, and they're much more likely to send you their friends. And if you take the extra time that this gives you to make a nice video for them that explains it, spend the time, there's going to be more work brought into your firm. You're going to be able to do a higher volume of these trusts, and the more you do, the more efficient you're going to be. So that's my way too long answer to a good question.
No, awesome. Well, no, I think you did great. We got through all the questions there. We'll hopefully be getting some of those book contest answers to your email soon. And yeah, there we go.
All right, very good. Well, I really welcome any questions, comments, or suggestions. It's been a nice road forward with EstateView. We're proud that we are impacting thousands and thousands of estate plans, hopefully in a very good way in the United States. So I hope everyone keeps up the great work. Eve, tell Cliff I said hello. Shane, thank you very much for all the help you've been. Shane is a soon-to-be lawyer and great organizer and great knowledge base on all this darn technology. So if you're an EstateView subscriber or a client or a colleague of ours and you want to talk to Shane about what you can do in your office besides just EstateView, he's probably the most qualified person in the United States of America to let you know, because he's seen it all.
Something like that.
Yep, something like that. All right. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you very, very much for everything you've done. That's enough, Alan. That's enough. Stop it. I have a headache. Oh, you made my head spin. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right, guys. Bye.